Alright, you can tell by the photo. You already know what it is. It's part 5. Alright, I know you guys have been asking for this shit. But, so, where did we leave off? Didn't we leave off with, Deku, being told about the 4th training camp arc? Yeah, we'll see he's left off with that. Alright. So, Deku, he's in the, what's it called? He's on the bus now. He's heading towards the training camp, but, the seat next to him is open, so he basically looks, he makes sure that no one's sitting near him, and he checks in front of him. The people, let's say it's Kirishima in front of him. He's talking with, I don't know, Mina. And Deku's sitting, he looks around, nobody's paying attention. So he just goes on his phone, he starts texting Mitsuki. And then, they're texting for a while. Deku's laughing a little bit on his phone because, they're making jokes and comments, flirtatious ones. But, then Mitsuki throws Deku the question that, he was not looking forward to. He's like, and then, she's like, what are we? Alright? She basically, cut to the chase. She's like, so, what are we really? Because Deku didn't want this question for a little while. Not because he doesn't want to date Mitsuki. He really wants to, go out with her. But he's scared. Alright? And, you might be wondering, this man beat the shit out of All Might. What is he scared of, Uraka broke his heart. Alright? And then, her dating Bakugo made it, even fucking worse for him. But, Deku, he's not scared of, he's not scared of, her, how do I put this? He's not scared because he knows that she wouldn't do something like that, but, his heart doesn't want to let her in just yet, fully, alright? So, he's put a pause on that question right now. I have to go somewhere, basically. He makes up an excuse. So, now Deku's in his head. He's wondering, what do I tell her? Because he wants to say yes. He wants to say it so badly. And, Dio's even in his head, come on, just be an item already, for fuck's sake, And then, Dio understands because he watched all of Deku's life. So, he knows that Deku is, shit scared of being in a relationship. Because he's scared that, he'll be hurt again. So, Deku, he's just thinking, people are, everybody's getting off the bus, but Deku's still, in his head thinking. Mr. Aizawa's like, Deku? And then, or, Izuku? And then Deku, he pops up, he's like, what? He's like, everyone's getting out of the bus, you should probably get out, too. He's like, oh, sorry, I was in my head a little bit. And, it's been a while since Deku did that, because you remember, he used to mumble. Well, I said in this one he doesn't mumble because he's confident. So, yeah, he never mumbled. So, Aizawa was stunned. He's like, what the hell? He's surprised. So, basically, the Wild Wild Pussy, they go outside, the Wild Wild Pussy cats are explaining. Deku does not care. He's still thinking and stuff like that. He's just in his head so much. And, the avalanche happens. Deku looks up for a second. He just basically, stops time, gets on the back of the bus, and then starts thinking again. He just, what the hell should I do? And then, the teachers are getting on the bus. They don't notice Deku. So they're driving back, and then they just stop there. They get to the place, everybody's still running. They're like, where the hell did, Deku go? And stuff like that. So, then, the bus stops. Deku realizes the bus stops. He gets up. He's like, all right. And then he walks out before, he, steps in front of everyone and just gets going. And, everybody's surprised that Deku's there, except for, Aizawa. Aizawa kind of expected it. But he didn't expect Deku to do that. So he's because, Deku, he knows that Deku could have gotten there faster than the fucking bus. So he's he must really be thinking about something in order to not want to waste his time, running. So Deku, he gets out, he's thinking, right? So he's just what do I do here? Do I, he's just having an internal conflict, right? So, because, one part of him is, just let her in. The other part is, you'll get hurt again. He's just extremely worried about this. So, he gets there, he just starts making food because he's a little bit hungry. He makes food for Class 1A because he doesn't really have an issue with anybody. He has an issue with nobody except for maybe, Bakugo. But, he has to get along with Bakugo because, he's dating his mom. So, Bakugo has been suspicious of Deku, this entire time because, he's been noticing that his mom has been leaving a lot recently. And, and he's just been noticing about, he's just been noticing, Deku's been, happier or something, I don't know. He just basically notices that something's up with Deku and something's up with his mom. So basically, basically, like, they all get there. Bakugo's pissed, like, where the hell were you, nerd? And you're like, yeah, whatever, shut up, I made food. And, everybody eats the food, and it's amazing. So everybody's like, wow, your food's so amazing. He's like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then he starts sitting down. He's eating his food, but he's still thinking. So everybody's, like, trying to compliment him, but he does not care. So basically, like, and then Koda, Koda's there. He sees Koda. He sees that, Koda's sad like he was at one point. He sees that he's even more sad. So he just goes up to Koda. He's like, what's up, kid? And, Koda tries to go for the ball shot, but it's stopped by Zawarudo. So it's just stopped. And then, like, Koda's like, what the hell? And, like, Deku looks at him all confused. He's like, what's up, kid? Koda runs off crying. Deku's like, that was weird. And then, Mandalay's like, what did you do to him? He's like, I blocked him from hitting me in the balls. He's just like, I didn't really do anything to the kid. So now, what's it called? So now Deku, he's just like, he's still in his head, right? So he's trying to, like, think, and, like, the guys notice this, and they're like, why don't we make Deku, like, why don't we make Deku, be, like, awake more, basically. So what's it called? What they do is, you've probably seen this somewhere, they switch out the fucking signs for, like, boys and girls. So Deku, he goes for his, like, to get in the hot tub, basically. So he sits down, he's like, this is gonna help me think a bit more. So, he's thinking still. Basically, he's been training, but mostly thinking. So, and then, like, they switch the signs back, of course, after Deku goes inside. So, the what's it called? So, like, Deku, he's in his mind so much, he doesn't hear anything, right? So, basically, like, the girls, like, they walk in, they're like, alright, bath how? And then, they see Deku, like, with his face up, like, chilling out. And they're like, Deku? And then, like, he looks back, and he's like, what the hell are you doing in here? And then he's like, and then they're like, this is the girls' tub. And, Deku's red because, they're naked. So he looks up. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. This is the guy's place. And like, no, this is the girl's place. We read it perfectly. He's like, was I in my head that much? And then, the girls and Deku hear snickering on the other side. They're hearing like, bro, shut up, dude. Deku realizes what happened. So like, he's extremely pissed right now. He's super pissed. Because, like, they took advantage of the situation. Like, in his eyes, they took advantage of the situation. He doesn't realize that most of them were just doing this just to make him, like, start, get out of his head. But, like, in his eyes, like, he's extremely fucking mad, right? So Deku, he does not care right now. He's pissed. So he just fucking gets up, and, like, the girls, like, they're all like, whoa. And, like, they try to cover their eyes in time, but, they get glimpses of, what Dio has, and, Dio has the world in quotations. So Deku, he gets up. He's so pissed. He does not care. So he gets up. Mineta, he starts to try to climb the wall, right? But as he, like, is starting to climb the wall, Deku, like, is, like, hearing as he climbs, and he can see the blood flow. So he just punches a hole, like, punches, like, straight where Mineta would be. And, like, Mineta goes flying. He hits the other side of the wall. Like there's a bit of an indent. And then they're all looking like, what the fuck? And then, so Deku, he busts through there. He's like, oh, so you think you're fucking funny, And then, like, all the guys realize, like, that they just fucked up. And they head, like they immediately, like, run. They don't care about their fucking clothes right now. They're running. Like, some of them are holding a towel. Some of them just don't give a fuck and are just running. And, they basically, like, they stop, like, halfway through the forest. They're like, did we get away? And then, like, and then, like, Bakugo, he turns his head and he just sees this. He's like, so, you think you got away, huh? And, they do see the birthmark. Some of them think it's a tattoo. Bakugo knows that it's a birthmark, basically, because Deku's had it forever. Yeah, I know. So one of them asked me to have him have the birthmark, but, he has it. So basically, he's like, so, you guys think you're fucking funny, huh? And, like, Bakugo, he's backing up slowly because Deku's letting out, like, so much fucking bloodlust right now. And then, like, he's like, alright, I'll let you guys live if you tell me who the fuck came up with this idea. And, it was a combination of all the guys, except for, like, Todoroki. Todoroki was like, you shouldn't do this. Like he knew that this shit would happen. And then, like, Todoroki didn't run because, like, Deku saw how calm he was. So he was like, alright, he probably had nothing to do with this because he was letting off a lot of fucking bloodlust. So Deku's like, so who the fuck's idea was it? And, everybody's, like, looking around. And then, Bakugo, he perks up. He's like, it was all of our ideas. And, everybody looks at Bakugo like, you fucking idiot. Like, they all say that out loud. You fucking idiot. And Deku, he smiles. He's like, so all of you came up with this idea. So he starts walking towards them slowly. A few of them try to run, but as they try to run, they're just knocked out. Like, they just, like, get knocked out as they're running away. So Deku's still slowly walking up to them. And then, like, they're all scared. So at this point, like, let's say Kirishima didn't run. Ida did run. Ojiro didn't, like, he didn't care, so he didn't even, but, like, he didn't care to tell Deku what would happen. So Deku sees it just as bad. And, I'll refrain what I said about Todoroki before. Todoroki is there, but, he is the same reason Ojiro is there. So, like, what's it called? So, like, only a few guys ran. Like, Sero tried to run. Kaminari did try to run. Mineta, he's knocked out. He's already in the wall. Just a few, like, the pushovers ran. Koda, like, Deku doesn't really have an issue with Koda, because Koda's a nice guy and he's shy. So Deku knew he probably was just too shy to tell me something. So Koda's off the hook. Koda ran, but, Deku didn't knock him out. So, so now the guys are shit scared. And he's like, I'm going to beat the shit out of all of you. Like they're like, bro. Like, he's like, I'm going to do you worse than I did All Might. Like, and when he says this, like, they're all fucking scared. Because he beat the shit out of All Might. Alright? And, like basically, they're like, we're sorry. And he's like, you should, don't beg me for mercy. Mercy's for the weak. And he just starts beating the shit out of all of them, basically. And, he didn't beat them all to death, but he basically, like, made sure that they'll miss, like, a week of training. So, Deku, he's, like, walking back. At this point, he's still pretty pissed off, so he doesn't really realize what's going on. Class 1B shows up. Basically, like, the girls, like, went to make sure that the guys survived. And, like, Class 1B showed up, so they just all see Deku, like, walking back. But he's naked, so they basically just see fucking the world hanging. And, like, you know what I mean? Deku is Dio, so Dio's fucking hung. Urara's thinking, like, why the fuck did I leave him for Bakugo? Like, in her head, like, she's thinking this, like, why the fuck did I leave him for Bakugo? And then, like, all the girls are thinking the same thing. Why did Uraraka leave him for Bakugo? Like, even Bakugo is thinking, why the fuck did, Round Face leave leave Deku for me? Because, Deku's fucking hung. So, Deku, he's walking. He's like, the fuck are you looking at? So, like, all the guys, like, basically, like, have a shiver go down their spine. Because it was directed towards the guys, mostly. And, like, he's curious on why the girls are, like, not looking him in the eyes. And, like, he's like, And he looks down. He's like, oh, shit. So, like, Deku's like, how do I make this not awkward? Like in his head, it's going like, he just stopped time, basically. He's like, how do I make this not awkward? Because they've already seen it. So, Deku resumes time. He's like, so what? You like what you see? And then, then they turn red and look away. And then Deku just walks into the bathhouse. He's like, I did good. But, like, his like, knuckles are bloodied. Not his own blood. It's their blood. So, as I was like, what the hell happened? He's like, I don't know, just all I know is that Kirishima and, like, a few other guys still haven't made it back. As I was sees a fucking bloodbath, but, they're not dead. But, Deku's like, that helped Deku, like, chill out a little bit. So Deku is slightly thankful, but, he's still pissed off. So he won't talk to them for a little while. But it's not like he talked to them anyways. So Deku, he's just been training and stuff like that. Dio's been, like, telling him, like, yeah, you should do this and this and this. And, like, Deku's like, alright, can you just tell me how to, like, go above heaven or whatever? And, Dio's like, listen, alright, it's not good. And he's like, what, you have to kill someone or something? Like, and he's like, if that's the case, then I won't do it. And then, Dio's like, alright, then you won't do it. He's like, wait, so how many people did you have to kill? Dio's like, there were piles. Basically, he's like, can I, like, get Requiem or some shit? He's like, Requiem, you don't need Requiem. Like, he's like, your stand is already one of the most powerful. You don't need Requiem. Like, because Dio is self-absorbed. So, Deku's, he's annoyed, but he basically trains. Bless my soul. But, So now Deku can like stop time for a whole fucking minute, because why the fuck not make him OP? So, Deku can stop time for a whole minute. And then, as per normal, the villain, the hero attack happens, but they're not after Bakugo. They don't give a shit about Bakugo. They want Dio. Cause, villain material plus his, quirk in quotations is OP. So, basically like what's it called? So everyone's eating. Deku's gonna bring food to Koda, and then cause he did see where Koda went basically. So Deku he's bringing food to Koda, and then he sees like Muscular holding Koda by like the head. He's like, I get to crush his fucking skull basically. So Deku he stops time, and then he puts Koda down, and then he starts Mudaiing for like a solid, because it took him only like 1 second to get Koda, so he Mudai's Muscular for like 59 seconds, and he does like how many punches per second? I don't even fucking know. Like he hits him like 10 times per second, so 59 times 10, 590 hits. Fucking madman. And he stops time, he turns around, basically looks like this again. But he actually is wearing clothes this time. So let me switch back to this photo. So Muscular, he's sent fucking flying, and his ass is beat because he didn't muscle up at all. He didn't muscle up for Koda. He didn't need to. So he's knocked the fuck out. And then so Deku's like, all right, I'm gonna be taking you back to the dormitory, and then because he thinks that only Muscular attacked or something, or like it was just some random dude. So he basically like is dragging Muscular with the world, and he gets there, and then he sees that like the forest is on fire. He's like, fuck. So he basically now he starts rushing. Basically, he brings Koda to Aizawa. He's like, yeah, you watch him, and then Dabi shows up. Deku just hits Dabi once with like a fucking and then Dabi's like knocked the fuck out. So after that, I say a lot. Fuck. So Deku he's going around. He's like the gas guy. Deku he had a bit of trouble with the gas guy because he couldn't get close. So he just stopped time, held his breath because like he can still breathe that stuff in, and then he held his breath as long as he could, and then just punched the gas mask guy in the face, and then got out of there. So, nobody really knows who the fuck beat the gas mask guy. He did tell Mandalay, like, Koda's fine now, and then beat the shit out of the other guys. Like, Deku's just going around beating the shit out of the Vanguard Action Squad, basically. And then, out of bullshit, because why the fuck not, the Nomu catches Deku off guard and, punches his arm off. So Deku, he's one-armed now. He could still beat the shit out of everyone, but, like, while he's basically regenerating his arm, Kurogiri just teleports him. And then, like, All For One does the sludge teleport thing to him. So, now Deku, he's chained up like Bakugo was. They don't know that Deku could just easily break through this, but Deku's just biding his time, basically. So he's chilling in there. He's like, so what the fuck do you guys want? And then they're like, why don't you join us? And then Deku's like, what do you guys have for me? like what is your offering to your god? And then basically they're like, excuse me? And like, yeah, he's like, what is your offering to me? Like, what do you want for me to join? He's like, don't you want to fix this hero society? He's like, all right, but like, how much money would I get out of this? Like Deku's just like being real with him. He's like, so like, what the fuck are you offering me? They're like, you help us, we offer you the world. He's like, I already have the fucking world. But like, he doesn't basically say that. But he's like, why the fuck would I need the whole world? And then so they're like, come on. Like, basically, they're trying to convince him. And then, basically, All For One gives up. He's just like, all right, fine, then I'll just take your quirk. And Deku's like, yeah, you do that. you do that. And then, so All For One, he touches Deku's head. And then, nothing happens. He's like, this quirk will be powerful. And then, he's like, there's no quirk. Why is there no quirk? And then he's like, you're old as shit, right? and then All For One looks at him. He's like, I guess you could say that. He's like, have you ever heard of a fucking stand? All For One, his eyes widened a little bit, but you can't see it because it's under a mask. So basically, All For One's like, shit. And then he gets punched. Like, his mask is like knocked the fuck off. So he's like, fuck. And then so he puts his mask back on. He's like, because you know it's his Darth Vader suit basically. So Deku he breaks the shackles like, and you know the heroes were supposed to take a few days. So Deku's doing this within a matter of hours. So he's like, all right, it's time for me to beat the shit out of all of you. So you know Toga like rushes him. She stabs into him and starts drinking his blood. He's like, oh. No, you want to do that? So he just stabs his fingers into her. He's like, why don't we trade? And then she's like, wait, what? And then he starts drinking her blood. She's like, I've never had it the other way. And she's like, as she falls down, and you know, she's still obsessed with Deku, basically, because Deku showed her what it's like to have it the other way around. God damn it! I hate myself for that joke, but So then Shigaraki he runs up to Deku. He tries to touch him. You know, his hand, like he as he goes for like Deku, his hand's gone. He's like, what the fuck? Like his just hand's gone. Deku's like, oh, you mean this? And Shigaraki's like, that's my fucking hand. And like blood starts gushing out. Basically, like, he falls to his knees. He's like, yeah, you'll probably need a hand with that. And then he throws that back. He throws it back to Shigaraki. Shigaraki is like holding his hand. Basically, he's holding his own hand. What a weirdo. But after that, you know, the other guys join in and non-binary people, because you know there is that one person. I can't say their gender for sure, but so basically, Deku's just beating the shit out of the League of Villains, and you know, All For One gets back up. He's like, all right, we can do this shit then. So he cracks his nuts. Like, you know, this won't be an easy fight, even though he beat the shit out of All Might, because we're just gonna say All For One's a little bit stronger. So you know, Deku is basically fighting with All For One. All For One is about to like blow the whole place up, and then so they're all teleported away. So All For One just blows the fucking place up. Deku he gets hurt by this, but like his shirt's just gone. He's perfectly fine other than that. And like the news is seeing this basically because they were flying around because of some other incident, and they're like, "Yo, look at that!" He's like, "Unknown person is fighting another person," like, you know. And then they're like, "Is that a UA student?" He's like, "A UA student is fighting a villain, it appears." So Deku's basically like fighting, and like All Might's watching this basically because he's watching on the news. So All Might, he's like, where is this at? And like, you know, it's back in this one place that's super far away that All Might knows he can't make it to, because why the fuck not? So it's just Deku versus All For One. This is the ultimate final battle. So you know, Deku's fighting him. Deku's just like dodging and weaving and still punching because like he's trying to save up the world basically because the world has a cooldown time. He's lowered it, but we'll say it's since he can stop time for a minute, let's make it like 15 seconds. He can't stop time. So you know he's like, you know, he's punching at All For One. All For One's punching at him. Like All For One can't hit the stand because he doesn't have a fucking stand. I'm not giving him a stand because that would just be kind of, you know, extra. But so basically, like, all For One's getting beaten. Like, slowly but surely, Deku's overpowering him. Then, you know, All For One pulls out his muscle enhancement, fiber enhancement, like, you know, that big-ass, like, I beat my meat every day arm. So, you know, Deku's like, wow, overcompensating much, you know. He just is making jokes, basically, because he's not taking All For One seriously. So then, you know, All For One's like, fine then, you know, he like, cocks his arm back. He's ready to, like, punch Deku. And then, like, as he's, like, about to throw the punch, he just gets hit on his right. And, like, he looks, he sees Deku standing there. He looks back, Deku's gone on the other side. And then, like, he looks back to where Deku was again. He's gone. He's like, where the fuck? And then, you know, he gets hit in his back, hit in his front, hit in his side. Like, he's just getting hit from fucking everywhere. And, you know, there's, like, he's getting hit in his face, his arms, his legs, he's getting a nut shot. Like, he's getting hit fucking everywhere. And then, like, you know, basically just, you know, the 7-page Muda. If you've watched, you know, the Golden Wind, he's doing the 7-page Muda to All For One. And, you know, All Might knows what it's like to get Muda'd, but he doesn't know how bad that is. So he's like, damn, he really went easy on me. And then, you know, he has to end it casually with a fucking roller. So he smashes down on All For One with a road roller. But, like, he actually starts punching into the road roller now so that, you know, it'll go down, basically. All For One's trying to stop it, but at this point, like, he's already, like, under the road roller, so he can't really do anything. So All For One, he's, like, about to be knocked out. And, like, you know, Deku, he punches it one more time. All For One's knocked out. And, you know, the news is catching all this. So they just see Deku go, yeah. like, you know, yeah, like, it's just like victory screech, for fuck's sake. So, you know, Amitsuki was watching this. She was scared because Deku isn't, you know, he isn't unfucking scarred. He got hit a few times. So he's like, his like arm has like a huge gash on it, you know. There's a few cuts on his side, you know. What do I say? His jaw's cracked, like some like hits like that. But he'll be fine. He's a fucking vampire. So basically, you know, Mitsuki was like watching news. She was heading there as soon as it happened, you know. And everybody's watching the news, like even like, you know, because I'm about to do this to Bakugo. So even like Bakugo's watching the news because they're watching it from like they're watching it on their way back because we'll say that the bus has a fucking TV screen. So they're watching the fucking, you know, they're watching it, and you know, Deku looks to his left. He's like tired. He's like, oh fuck, that was a fight, you know. And like he sees Mitsuki like running at him. He's like, oh well shit. And then he gets tackled, and you know she's crying. She's like, you fucking idiot, you could have gotten yourself killed, blah, 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 stuff like that. He's like, oh, I'm fine, you know, she kisses him. And, like, everyone's watching, she's like, and, like, nobody really knows what Bakugo's mom looks like, so everybody's like, wow, that woman looks kind of familiar. And, you know, Bakugo, he's infuriated, because this is on live fucking television. Like, you know, Deku's like, you know, I have a few broken ribs that you're, like, you know, laying on. And she's like, I'm sorry. He's like, it's fine. They should heal him, like, 2-3 seconds. And then, you know, and he's like, he looks at her, he's like, you know, Bakugo's gonna kill me, right? He like, or attempts to. And then she's like, what do you mean? He looks up at the news, like, he waves, he's like, yo. And then she realizes, she's like, shit, we're gonna have to explain this, aren't we? He's like, yeah, you know, Inko basically knew at this point, because she could already tell, like, Deku was, you know, happier than usual. So, everybody's like, who is that woman? Like, you know, Deku has a girlfriend, you know, and basically stuff like that. And there, you know, a few girls are disappointed, a few girls are bummed out. Uraka, she knows Mitsuki, because, you know, she's been to Bakugo's house. And she's surprised that, you know, he's dating fucking her boyfriend's, you know, her boyfriend's mom. So she's like, wow. And like, you know, Bakugo, he's so mad. He's like, let's get there fucking now. Like, you know, because everybody thinks that, you know, Bakugo's just, like, you know, worried about Izuku, but little do they know he plans on killing that fucker. That's what he's thinking in his head, but, you know, it's not happening. So, you know, Deku, he's like, oh, alright, let's get out of here. She's like, shouldn't you go to the hospital? She's saying this as she looks at him and his wounds are closing up. He's like, I'll be fine. So basically, you know, Deku, he basically heads home. He goes to his house. Actually, no, he goes to Mitsuki's because her place is closer from there, I'd say. Just random, I guess. But, so he just sits down on the couch. He's like, oh, that was too long of a day. And then she was like, you're telling me I had to watch you do that. And then he looks at her. He's like, I had to go through that, you know? She's like, yeah, but I was worried, so mine outranks yours. And he decides, he's like, all right, whatever. You know, he hugs her, basically, because he wasn't scared of losing at all. But, you know, he basically, like, whispers into her ear, he's like, will you be mine, basically. Like, you know, he's basically just asking her to be his girlfriend for now. You know, for now. So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be spicy. So she kisses him. She's like, of course. Basically, stuff like that. So, you know, they're like, you guys should head home before we go check where the hell Izuku Midoriya is. So, you know, Bakugo heads home. He catches, like, you know, Izuku and Mitsuki kissing. He's like, what the fuck's going on here? You know, Mitsuki, she's like, and then Deku, he looks at him. He does this grin. He's like, tonsil hockey. And then he kisses her again. Basically, like, you know, the same way Dio did Jonathan's girlfriend, but he just does that to Mitsuki. And, you know, she's actually closing her eyes like Jonathan's girlfriend did, basically. So, you know, no, Bakugo's pissed. He basically rushes at Izuku, but, you know, Izuku just disappears with Mitsuki. And, you know, she opens her eyes and you know, she's like halfway down the block. And she like, you know, Deku has her arms around her. He's like, let's go my place. It's too loud at your place. She's like, you know what, sure, basically. And you just hear, Deku! From, like, far away. But, yeah, for now, that's where it's gonna end. I know. Bummer, right? Jeez. But, next, we're gonna do what are we gonna do next? I need to check what the fuck we're doing next. I'm pretty sure we're doing the overhaul arc, right? If we are, then I'll just basically make that happen. If not, I won't. But I hope you guys enjoyed part 5. Thank you for 50 subs. Give me to 60 maybe. Maybe. But I'll have to give you guys the double upload, which is gonna be annoying. But I love you guys, so no homo.